So I've been developing my personal brand, ZHB Productions, this past year through a film that I shot in Mongolia. I also have directed this animated short called Up the Water Spout. And I wanted to make this video just document what I've been doing these past 2 years for myself and to maybe inspire, I don't know, some sort of creative process for those out there by showing my own. So in this first chapter, I'll be talking about how Up the Water Spout came about. I went to, LA Shorts Fest, and I met a Disney director who directed a movie from 2005. I won't name names, but I was inspired, and it really reminded me that I enjoyed the hand-drawn animation style, such as seen in Atlantis and also Treasure Planet, and I wanted to do something that, made me excited as a child and makes me excited as an adult, you know? And so we went out on that. I found an artist that had an interesting style that I had never seen before and had never actually done a full animated short. I think the running time for it's about 4.5 minutes. And so with that, I don't know, there's something about people that are really hungry, you know, and hungry to work. And I think that that's very, not only admirable, but the best work comes out of those that really are not in this tenured kind of stance, but really want to prove themselves. And I think with that, we found some great leeway in the creative process. Then here's the first photo of the spider after I did a rough sketch. And then the artist Mark came up with this idea, this kind of version of the colored version of the spider. And we ended up with a more kid-friendly kind of universal look because, once again, we wanted it to kind of reach as many audiences as possible with the visual storytelling element that we were using. But, yeah. And where we're at with the current whereabouts of the Up the Water Spout project, we've currently pitched to, I think, 5 or 6 studios, all of which have no interest at all. We are still waiting on one more, and then I have an idea for syndication after, but that's going to be kind of the last resort. Sometimes you got to sit on these things for a couple of years, and then you really see them come through. But we're also developing a plush toy line as well. And so that's in development. I'm going to receive the prototype here in the next week for the frog, at least. And then the spider is going to probably be around a month out. And we're going to see if we can do a cool little custom packaging for that. And here is the first and then second kind of follow through on the stitching of the frog prototype. I do not have spider prototypes yet, but I will be sure to share those. So chapter 2 is Mongolia. Mongolia came about in February 2025. Me and my friend went to Japan, and I asked him simply, have you ever been to Mongolia before? And he said no, and I hadn't either. And I said, do you want to help me shoot my first feature in Mongolia? It was really just like that. And then we went out and we began assembling a team of a producer, a DP, and then a sound mixer as well. And we shot that last summer, and then we're in post-production for that now. But that whole came about as well in an interesting way, and that we made an Instagram contact with somebody in New Zealand, and they referred their cultural correspondent to us, and the cultural correspondent picked us up at the airport. And little did we know the cultural correspondent was nationally famous, which would come in handy much, much later. So after the 28-hour flight, because I flew backwards across the world to Mongolia, I did not fly directly from LA across the ocean. Went backwards through Turkey. Somebody died on my airplane. We had to land in Reykjavik. They took the man that died off. We were delayed 2 hours. So to the hotel after, and we had various meetings with people in the film industry there. And then we went out into the steppe for the first time, which was about 9 hours off of a highway. And we met various individuals that were also gold miners. But why we went there initially on the research trip was we thought the whole movie was going to be about ninja miners, which in fact, ninja mining is not as prevalent anymore, as ninja miners have now basically evolved into larger gold mining facilities in larger gold mining operations. But there are still ninja miners, don't get me wrong, but it's just not as big of a story as we thought. So then we interviewed, I think, it must have been like 15 to 20 people in the course of 15 days. And so we met our protagonist, that we narrowed it down to 3 people, that we went back, really 3 groups of people, 3 different families per se. Some that lived in the Noyon Mountain UNESCO World Heritage Site, some that lived in between 2 different gold mines, and then eventually, most recently, have been kicked out of their home after 22 years. And then also we interviewed somebody that is a Kazakh or from Kazakhstan as well, and he is kind of like the middle generation, and then we have the young generation in the Noyon Mountain, and then we have the older generation who's about 45 or 50 years old. And these are all nomadic herds people, is what we really narrowed our topic down to after kind of switching after the research portion. But back to our cultural correspondent, he got famous from filming the Running Horse documentary. Horses in Mongolia are known to remember where they're born and run back. Because they remember where they were born, they run back home, even if it's thousands of kilometers. And so he live streamed that on Facebook, became very popular by doing that. We also had another cultural correspondent who was a translator. She was wonderful, and she really, really helped pave the way for this entire project. And so we got chances to go to Erdenet, and one of the largest, I think it's the second largest coal mine in the entire nation, because of these wonderful cultural correspondents, and we really could not have done it without them. And we really got some special opportunities to meet people otherwise that we would have never been able to meet. So the research trip was done in May, and then we went back in August same year, 2025, to finish the principal photography. And really quick turnaround, because we realized we could not go after, I think it was September or something, because it becomes extremely cold. And so we went back, we did the principal, we spent 28 days, I believe. It was either 27 or 28 days shooting. And then, and we conducted wonderful interviews on hand-painted canvases, and we also lived with the Nomadic Herds-people for the entirety of that time. And it was a really important experience for me in my life. I believe so. Well, that about sums up what I've been doing for the past 2 years of my life. More recent projects include going into furniture building as well for my production company, because I really see us moving towards design as well with this stuffed animal line, and then also specifically a new line of coffee tables will be getting put out within the next year. So if you'd like to follow along, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you on the next one, next Friday. See you then.